Dallas. In Jake Paul's war against MMA fighters, he remains undefeated. The YouTuber turned prizefighter defeated Nate Diaz via unanimous decision 97-92, 98-91, 98-91 Saturday night at a sold-out American Airlines Center. Paul hurt Diaz in the first round, and it seemed like he would cruise or finish the fight early. But Diaz hung in and made it a tough fight throughout. "He's a warrior," Paul said in his post-fight interview. "I had him in the first round. He kept on coming. No one has taken that much damage. All credit to my team and my conditioning." Paul challenged Diaz to an MMA fight afterward, and Diaz seemed receptive. Paul and PFL have a standing $10 million offer for Diaz to do it. Diaz said it would have to be co-promoted by Real Fight Inc. "I'll fight anybody," Diaz said. "I don't give a f." Paul dropped Diaz in the 5th round, but Diaz was able to recover. Diaz joked about getting Paul in a guillotine choke in the 10th and final round. Paul, 26, came in with boxing wins over former UFC champions Anderson Silva and Tyron Woodley too, including one by knockout plus another knockout over former MMA champion Ben Askren. He has been a pro boxer since 2020. Diaz, 38, was making his professional boxing debut. The bout was contested at 185 pounds, the heaviest weight Diaz has fought at in his long career. Punch stats. Punches: Paul Diaz total landed 174,143, total thrown 491,392%, 35%, 37% jabs landed 348, jabs thrown 20,245%, 17%, 18% power landed 140,135, power thrown 289,347%, 48%, 39%, courtesy of CompuBox. Diaz spent 17 years in the UFC and was one of the promotion's biggest stars. He choked out Conor McGregor, handing McGregor his first UFC loss, in 2016. Diaz left the UFC as a free agent following a win over Tony Ferguson last September. He started his own promotion, Real Fight Inc., and vowed to look for the biggest and most interesting fights, on his terms. This card was a 50-50 partnership between Real Fight Inc. and Paul's Most Valuable Promotions MVP. Real Fight Inc. President Zach Rosenfield told ESPN last month that both Paul and Diaz would make well into the 8 figures for the fight, which is more than Diaz made in any of his UFC fights. It was also arguably the biggest fight so far for Paul. MVP co-founder Nakisa Bidarian said Diaz was the first fellow, a proven pay-per-view draw, that Paul has faced in his career. Tempers flared during the week. Paul and his crew got under Diaz's skin at the press conference and skirmish broke out between the two teams' security guards. The two got physical at weigh-ins. Diaz painted it as philosophical and generational differences, himself the old-school martial artist against Paul and Gen Z influencer culture. Paul and Diaz seemed to make up after the fight, with Diaz giving Paul credit.